So, first of all, Ayushi, thank you so much for inviting me and giving me this platform and opportunity to share my journey. I think you're doing a great job when it comes to, creating a group and community of women at the intersection of logistics and leadership and all the women coming together. So, congratulations to you for that. I think my name is Manu Agnihotri, a short introduction. I have around 9.5 years of experience working in supply chain. And I started my career as a techie. I was a developer working on the back end of things. And gradually, I got the chance and opportunity to work specifically for supply chain customers. With that, I got exposed to how logistics work and what are the different complex processes that go behind when we get our goods delivered. That sort of fascinated me, so I moved to more functional side of things. I am working as a consulting manager as of now at ArchLynk, where my primary duties are to ensure the digital transformation that happens for logistics industries go well. I'm working at ArchLynk, which is also a SAP Gold partner. So we are we are also at a very interesting time as of now where AI is taking center stage. So I'm also working at the intersection of AI and logistics, where we are devising different use cases that can be relevant for customers and can solve the much known and very valid supply chain problems of the today.
Wow, Manu, thank you so much for the amazing career trajectory you took us through. And I have like a very personal question. So, this is something I have asked my previous guests also. There are a lot of job descriptions mention engineering as a need for being in supply chain. So, I wanted to
Mhm.
understand from a realistic point of view. So, when you're actually working in a role of supply chain, is engineering a big backbone, or is it it doesn't provide skills which we can develop over time?
I think engineering, I wouldn't say that engineering is one of the core skills to have, but it's good to know how the backend systems run, right? Um, Having said that, I think supply chain is an industry for the curious. I would like to put it like that. Reason being, in today's day and space where supply chains are getting more complex day by day due to global events like tariff wars, like COVID we had, that was such a big that put actually supply chain at the center, right? So I think it is for the curious. If you're keen and curious to understand how supply chain backend works, this space is for everyone who wants to learn and who wants to explore and really understand this big complex piece that we have. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you, Manu. That was actually very clear and direct answer to my question, which really is something I look forward to when I ask such questions. Because, I would prefer, and I believe each and every person who is just a fresher entering the sector, we would like clarity when it comes to these things. If it's a
Yeah.
no, then it's a straight no. If it's a yes, it's a yes.
Yeah.
Rather than the whole sugar coated aspect where it is needed but you can make it work. Rather, it can help when we have clarity. So as you
Right.
said, it's for the curious. So based on that, we can develop the skills which are needed especially for the supply chain side. So whatever engineering side is helpful for supply chain, yes, we can work on it. But if
Mhm.
engineering is, say, making up like 90% of the work, then it's going to be a task, to just
Mhm.
enter it as a non-techie.
Yeah.
Talking about
Yeah.
consulting, which you are
Yeah.
a majorly a part of, something that has actually drawn me a lot is supply chain consulting. But I would love to know from you what exactly is it about and how amazing it really is, because the term definitely sounds very fancy to me.
Yeah. I think like all sorts of consulting, when it comes to management consulting or financial consulting, there is a specific need to get to the depth of that domain, right? When we say consulting in supply chain, um, we are looking at the operational side of things. Like, for example, I would like to tell you about one specific life event that happened, and that sort of drew me to supply chain consulting. I started, I mean, I'll give you a little bit of backdrop as well. I started my career as a developer at Infosys. Um, at that time, I was working primarily in ERP, and I got an opportunity to work for a global shipping client. And I was at the cargo terminals and warehouses, and I was able to see how much effort goes beyond sending cargoes from one part of the world to the another, right? Um, when we talk about consulting, we have to think from a perspective where we are focusing more on the business processes, because each and every customer has their own business processes which can be very diverse and robust as well. And when we factor in different parameters like geographies, trade relations, it can get really complex. So supply chain consulting sits at the center of it, where we have to think of all of these parameters and uh, build a business process, business design, where we are taking into consideration these business aspects, like how do we handle dangerous goods, how do we handle trade relations, how do we handle the routes that might be affected due to one or the other global event, right? So when we say supply chain consulting, it is taking all of these parameters into consideration and breaking the entire journey of a cargo into steps, into order management, planning, execution, settlement. So all of these basically come together as piece, and then we devise supply chain consultant work that basically goes into action. I don't know if I answered it correctly for you.
No, no, you did. Thank you very much. It actually did help because my next question was going to be that, is the supply chain problems, are they common between different industries? Are there anything, is it always different when it comes to different sectors, or we do have some common problems existing in all sectors?
I think I have done around 8 to 9 good blueprint design for major customers. And there are certain problems, yes, which are very common across supply chain industry. And if I have to think on top of my head, visibility uh, would be above everything else. So track and trace comes up with nearly every customer that I have worked with. And if I go deeper into that, it is basically how you get the real insights into problems before they escalate. Um, when we have situations like the Strait of Hormuz crisis that we had, it was shut down. No one saw that coming, right? So these kind of events really drill down to your supply chain problem. And I think customers need visibility on that. They would want to have right data to take action on that. Other than that, I would say cargo theft in some areas is another recurring problem. And underneath both of these problems, data quality plays a crucial role. If we don't have the right data, if we don't have a robust system which is replicating your uh, real day-to-day shipment cycles, then we will have freight cost leaks. It will give us incorrect KPIs, and we will not be able to take the right leadership decisions.
That was actually way too detailed, and that is just what we are trying to understand. And thank you for providing us the example, because yes, it helps in understanding your role as well as the sector a little better. And as you said, you spoke about leadership. I feel that leadership, especially in consulting, comes without a formal authority. So, can you share a few moments when influencing people became more important than simply having like just the right technical solution, for example?
If I can think of from some examples from my own experience, like when I entered this industry, supply chain has historically been a male dominated industry. And while that is changing slowly, we still have to get the numbers up to get better visibility as women. And women make up roughly around, I think, 40% of the overall supply chain workforce today, which is a strong number, I would say. I mean, I'm just quoting certain research papers that I read. But yeah, representation goes thinner as we move up the ladder, is what I have seen. So um, I think, for sure, it is a gradually evolving field. But yeah, there are still certain aspects that we as women need to come up together and make a difference.
Wow. Thank you. That is actually so, so true. And no matter how much we try to fix it, it is still something that needs a lot of effort to
Yeah.
reach 50% women and 50% men. And I read it somewhere, and I said that before also, that it is no longer male dominated, it is just filled with men. Like they are
Yeah.
not just overshadowing us, but they're just in larger number. So the more people are drawn to this sector and the more people are willing to sign up, females, the better it will be. But at the same time, Manu, since you are really young, at the same time, at that age where responsibilities as a woman are increasing more and more, do you really think that the sector demands a specific hours of commitment? We are able to meet that with the other responsibilities that women are subjected to.
I think it all depends. So I understand supply chain is a very operations heavy industry. It is round the clock. And sometimes we are in situations um, where we might have to stretch more and be give the professional space a little more, I would say, importance. But then at the same time, I think I would put that question across the other side of the table to the senior leaders whose entire responsibility is to make policies to make it welcoming for women, right? And I think these are not just some problems which have come up now. It has been there for a while. And I think diversity is extremely important because we have seen good results out of it, right? In other industries as well. So why not supply chain? For women, I would say um, we don't have to. It's leadership for me is not about being the loudest in the room, but I think it's about creating space for everyone and respecting each other's good ideas to surface. This is a very evolving field, and across geographies a lot of good innovations are coming up with AI at the center now. We are able to talk about scenarios in procurement, scenarios in manufacturing, etc. Right? There are so many use cases coming up. So I think for women, it's not like that we have to give 24/7 availability, etc. I think that would be more of a policy-driven decision. And I think we should make it easier for women to be part of the workforce, especially in fields like these. So this should be handled more at a policy level rather than giving it more time or compromising on other aspects of your personal life.
That was a beautiful answer, and I totally agree with you. And anytime I'm thinking about it, so I currently started my first job, and this was something that was on my head. That there are a lot of roles such as MIS executive and stuff, where I see my seniors working really hard, and even after they have gone home, they're posting on the group stuff like, this much is dispatched, this much is still there. And my thought is, how much of the personal life is getting affected? So my in a normal direct first thought recommendation was, why not hire someone for a second shift? But then their answer is that it's not that balanced. Like the workload in the day is obviously more, but night also needs some dedication. Now that is not enough to balance the first person's work, but you'll have to pay the same thing. So that all imbalance comes into picture. But I also feel that with the help of AI, with the help of different policies, we'll be able to make it more better, because I feel, at least this is a personal experience, that in the European countries, they respect work life balance a lot. No matter
That's
the
true.
sector, no matter the industry, they are like, you shut down your laptops at 5 o'clock itself, no matter you work at logistics or not. And I really appreciate that, because at the end you're working, you're doing all of this for your family, for your people, and if your work is taking away that time, I don't personally feel it's fair.
No, I completely agree with you. And I think if we will not be able to, like, if we'll not be able to build better policies, we will lose an entire sector of workforce, right? We have to build better, robust policies so that we can have more women participate in an industry like this, which runs round the clock. Supply chain is the backbone of every business, and operations run 24/7, right? But having said that, we need to come up with better policies so that we can, and especially with this age where we have innovative technologies, new age technologies like AI, machine learning. I think we are sitting at a good intersection of building some use cases which can be relevant across industries and reduce these kind of problems where we see more and we can see more women
True.
participating in this industry. Yeah, I agree with you.
And talking about AI is taking over a lot of things, and the major common notion and fear among all of us is AI taking our jobs away. So when it comes to supply chain, I would like to understand it more. How much of AI can we actually implement into this sector? Because a lot of it does involve needing the person.
Yeah. I think it is still like an evolving field, and there are lots of people who are building very interesting solutions for existing AI, for existing supply chain problems, right? Um, I think it is still too early to see the tip of it. It is it's like AI and automation. It won't like completely take out human in the loop because still we have to take these decisions based on the data that we are getting out of these agents, etc. But having said that, I think I would like the one thing that actually excites me is how well are we able to integrate AI and make use of all of these new age technologies and reduce our emissions and reach our ECG goals, right? Supply chain as an industry, we always have these targets, right? We have emissions target, we have sustainability metrics to track, and I think with the help of these new age tech, we should be able to move faster to get this data and make these autonomous processes that is so well inbuilt in our supply chain processes that it makes it easier. It gives us a little hold on the kind of emissions tracking and sustainability metrics. So I think I'm very excited to see where that goes. But at the same time, I don't think AI, I don't think we have fully utilized that space. It is still evolving, and there are very interesting use cases coming up. And yeah, there are lots of startups that are also picking up this in this space, and it is an interesting time. But I don't think it should scare
Taking
anyone
away
who wants to
jobs.
enter. Yeah, it should not scare. It is, in fact, even if you are someone who's curious, you will see that there are still lots of gaps to fill. So I don't think that you should be scared. It is an interesting time for learning, I think.
That's actually beautiful. And I agree that now I think new opportunities are going to open up where it's going to be intersection of each and every sector with AI. So, you know
Yeah,
how permutation and combination works. So each
yeah,
and every is going to now have double the opportunities because you'll have to join everything to AI.
yeah,
There's going to be
yeah,
new roles like automation manager,
yeah,
AI engineers and stuff.
yeah,
Everything started to increase as well. But
yeah, for
I
sure.
feel our sector is one of those which is still going to need a lot of human intervention because it deals with a lot of volume, a lot of important stuff which will have human intersection at every point. But
Yeah, yeah, for
for
sure.
the that we just discussed, you know, how the policy making is going to come into picture. If, say, at 11 p.m. at night, when the job hours are done, there is something that just needs a yes no answer, and AI just is trained well enough to just do that in the absence of a person, that will be fun, I feel. That's going to help us reach the
Yeah,
work life
yes, for
balance, help
sure.
us survive in the sector, and gonna make life better.
Yeah, for sure. I think I mean, we are at a very interesting time, and for people who are curious and are eager to learn, I think there are lots of things in this space, and there are lots of use cases to fulfill. And yeah, that's what I think. Let's see.
Manu, according to you, how do you think supply chain is going to evolve in the next 10 years based on how things are today?
I think, yeah, as I said, I think I want AI to take center stage and get us good data, metrics to track our emissions and supply and sustainability metrics. I hope that becomes the norm. I hope that becomes just as real time and built into every system. And I think talking about SAP, I think SAP itself is already moving in that direction. They have an autonomous supply chain vision. So we are still watching the early innings of it, but I hope we will. In 10 years from now, we will have cleaner fuel choices, we'll have reduced cargo waste, and protect the marine and ocean ecosystems. And that will become the norm for every supply chain business design. And I hope that is the future that we have for our planet as well. Yeah.
100%. And you mentioned you love mentoring and providing guidance to the people who are really passionate about their sectors. So, what
Yeah.
is that one piece of advice you would find yourself providing a young individual who has just entered the sector?
Um, I think if someone who is entering this sector at this time, I would say, first of all, get your hands dirty, get the domain knowledge. That is very crucial, first of all. Domain knowledge, when I say someone, they should try and see how giants like Unilever, for example, they should read the case studies. They should try to understand how inbound, outbound logistics work, how are different industries handling with the current supply chain problems. Curiosity will take you far. So I think that's one advice for sure. And yeah, I mean, I think learning is the way to go. Someone who's picking it up, just get yourself curious. Maybe you can take up courses like supply chain professional, CSIPS. I think that is quite standard, and that will give you an idea of how business works. Having said that, across geographies, supply chain is handled very differently.
Hmm.
So it also depends where you are. Find yourself a mentor. I would say that will reduce some of the take some part of the,
Uncertainties.
yeah, wondering away, I would say. And yeah, that is what I would say. Yeah.
Thank you, Manu. That actually is just something that's going to help us in the longer run as well. Having someone to fall back on, a mentor who can answer your insecure questions, the questions filled with so much doubt, especially when you're starting off. Like currently, when I think, think I pester my mentor almost once a week with, I don't know what I'm doing right now. This feels really scary and different than what I thought the sector was. Because when I started my master's, that was in Belgium. So I did
Mhm.
an internship with MSc in Belgium. So I knew that, the work-life balance, 5 o'clock, laptop closed, I'm gonna go home, just breathe, enjoy. Then I moved to India. And right now I see a totally different scenario. And I'm like, this is so different. And it is
Yeah.
hard to grasp it when the countries change and the whole idea of the sector changes.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
having someone to fall back on really, really helps. And as you
Yeah.
said, be curious, start asking questions. That's what I'm trying to do currently. Hopefully, it's going to help me in the longer run understand the sector better, especially in terms of India, because the beauty with which India is able to deliver each and everything, Blinkit, Rapido, 5 minutes delivery, that is really insane. And I think a lot of the people who I know in Belgium are really, really fascinated by how we are functioning because these systems are still not developed over there. It's
Yeah,
still
you're
going to
right.
take
Yeah.
a lot of time for them to pick this up, but the way India is doing it is insane. And
Yeah, for
understanding
sure.
India's system is going to help us so much more in the future as well.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm sure that you will do amazing. I have seen you are so dedicated and you're so hardworking. So I'm very, very sure about it. So no doubts there.
Thank you. Now, I would love to ask you my last question. What does
Okay.
leadership mean to you? And if someone remembers you 20 years from now, what do you hope they'll remember about you?
Okay. Um, I think I have been fortunate in terms of having some really good managers who shaped my thinking early on as a young professional. Um, and now that I am myself managing a team and I have to sort of walk the talk. I think for me, leadership at the current in this current space and even for future, I think for me leadership is basically empathy. I think empathy in action is something that I truly identify with, and that is something that resonates very well with me. Because I think when you remember that behind every process, every system, every transformation, there are people that are working with, and especially in operations, when people are working round the clock, I think at that point, real leadership means that we are encouraging others and sharing our knowledge with each other, sharing what you know for something bigger than ourselves, right? I think there is a very common in corporate sometimes people hold on to information and they don't like to share it with others because of xyz reasons, but I think when we think of the collective good, real leadership actually means like you are sharing more information, and with that you benefit as an individual as well. That's what I have seen in my career, and I have also learned this from my managers who have been very kind to me and who have always supported me in these situations. I think I would also love for more women to take center stage in this industry, and I would try to clear the path for the ones who are coming after us, young professionals, because I think the biggest problems right now in supply chain won't be solved by just one person. We need a collective effort for that, and that will be solved together. So I think from this conversation, if I think one thing that people can remember me for, I would be that um, I think supply chain is no longer a back office function anymore. We have seen Tim Cook. He was the CEO of Apple. He's the CEO of Apple,
Yeah.
and he was also working in supply chain before this role. So it is no longer the back office function
That
anymore. We are seeing these pattern come up more and more in major industries, major offices as well. So resilience, sustainability, equity, these are going to be solved. These are some of the world's biggest problems, and they are going to be solved not just by one person. It will be like a collective effort.
collective effort.
Yeah, and I hope that 10 years from now, more women hear of supply chain and think that that is a place that I could lead as well. So yeah, that is one hope for me.
Beautiful. Yes, let's go.
Let's go.
You are
For
really
sure.
super inspiring. And I really loved your energy and the clarity that you have. The way you commanded each and every answer shows that you know what you're talking about. You have the clarity in mind, what is and how things are gonna be in terms of the work that you do, the way you present yourself. And I feel that is very inspiring. I would love for each and every person to learn from you, from the way you are taking command, and we are able to build our lives somewhere around that personality as well. Because I feel this sector with so much uncertainty and ambiguity, we need that patience, that clarity to survive and thrive in it as beautifully as you are. So, thank you for sharing with us your amazing ideas, your experiences, and your insights. I hope we are able to really implement some of it, if not all of it, and make an impact in this sector.
For sure. Good luck. Good luck to everyone who has been part of this initiative, and congratulations to you, Ayushi, for taking up and organizing all of it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.